Hello, my people. Moro. Welcome to African Electronic. Today I'm going to be talking about a topic that's very hot at the moment. A lot of people are talking about this. A lot of people are talking about artificial intelligence, AI, especially with platforms like ChatGPT that have become extremely popular around the world. So, artificial intelligence or machine intelligence is something that's been developed for at least a few decades now, but it's become a hot topic more recently. The rise of online platforms like ChatGPT, it seems like it's becoming a lot more accessible than it has been, although AI has been present in some of our systems without it being called artificial intelligence. So, the reason I want to talk about it today is because, as musicians and music producers, some people are asking, is artificial intelligence going to replace humans when it comes to making music or art? What do you think? Do you think it will replace music producers and music composers? Or do you think maybe it's going to be a tool that's going to help a lot more people create music and art? So in this video, I'm not going to go too deeply into this subject, as I'm sure we can debate about it all day. However, I want to look at a couple of applications that some people are using and have been using that are based on machine learning, and these can help come up with ideas. So make sure you watch this video so that you can see a comparison between two programs that are being used by music producers to make music. The first one I would like to look at is Magenta Studio. So Magenta Studio is written here as a collection of music plugins made by Magenta's open source tools and models. And these are based on machine learning. So Magenta itself comes in two versions. The Ableton Live plugins that work on Max for Live. So you need to have Max for Live in order to use the Ableton Live plugins. So if you own Ableton Live Suite, you're definitely going to have Live. Otherwise, if you've got the standard version, you might need to get Max for Live in order to use this. And then there's a standalone application that you can purchase, which I think does a similar thing, but then it functions in a slightly different way to the Ableton Live plugin. So the standalone application, I believe, can be used in any DAW. So the Ableton Live plugins, the Max for Live ones, are free, by the way, in comparison to the standalone applications. And a quick overview here. As you can see, there's several versions of the Magenta plugins. I'm just going to show you the Max for Live version now. And as I mentioned before, I've also got another plugin that we'll be looking at, so make sure you keep watching. Over to Ableton Live. So I've already downloaded the Max for Live version. So I'll just add a MIDI track here and go to my Max for Live plugins where I'll search Magenta. Magenta Studio. I just double click. Yeah, so as you can see, Magenta's down here. It's been loaded up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another MIDI channel, and I'll explain why in a bit. And I'll add, maybe I'll add one of Ableton Live's instruments here. Perhaps we can just look at one of these presets. Let's go for basses. Yeah, so I've just loaded up a preset from Live's analog. So as I go back to Magenta Studio, as you can see, there are 5 functions over here, which I think if it were the standalone version, they would come as, I believe, I haven't looked at it. It's possible they come as 5 separate applications. Because I don't have anything, I'm just going to go on generate. So if I click on generate, it opens up something where it says generate 4 bars. So this is running in Max for Live. And what I would like is melodies for now. And let's go and put it on where the bass is. Let's say from slot 1. And over here it says variations. So this is basically how many variations you'd like the app to create. So I'm going to go for 8 variations for now. I'm not really going to change that. And temperature, I believe, is to do with the complexity of the output that you get, or the results. So over here it just tells you output is going to be 8. So if I click on generate, so as you can see, after clicking on generate, it generated 8 different clips. So if we have a look at them, you can see it's generated 8 different clips. You can see this, different ideas, each unique in their own way. And if we just have a listen, okay. Okay. And the next one. Okay, so you can see some of the results. Some of them I didn't really like, but it's up to personal taste. But I actually really like a couple of them. This number 6 and number 8. So if we can just listen back to number 6. You can see that's got some potential if we just take it down maybe a couple of, or maybe a single octave. Okay, just coming up with an idea there. So let's see this one here. That could make for a nice little techno or Italo disco number. I don't know, any of those. So yeah, so you can see the results here. You know, not all of them are great or even usable, but a couple of them can be inspiration for a track. And it just happened like that. I just loaded up the instrument, loaded up Magenta, just generated the clip, and out of nowhere it does this. And I believe the Magenta Studio was actually made because it's machine learning. They actually had to input data, which I believe it would have studied the music from, I think, thousands, if not tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of different types of music and musical numbers, and then that's what it uses to then come up with these new ideas, which is pretty incredible. And as you saw, actually, when I loaded this up, you could see when I clicked on generate before, there was something for drums and melody. So this can actually generate MIDI notes both for drums and melody, which is pretty great. Let's just maybe, I wasn't really planning on looking at the drum section, but I just added a MIDI channel, and maybe we can load up one of Ableton Live's templates for drums. I'm just gonna quickly load up a kit. It doesn't really matter what it is, but I'm just doing this for demonstration purposes. Okay, so we can either independently generate the drums from the generate function that we used earlier. Let's first try to just generate something using the generate function as we did before. So this is going to be drums, and we'll choose a clip. 1, 2. I'm just going to do, let me just keep it at 8 for now. Okay, so as you can see, we've got some drums. So just to mute this for now, and let's listen to the drums. Okay. Not too sure about that. Not too sure about that either. Okay, that's a nice little groove. I like that. Okay. Okay. Okay, so there's a couple that I like here. I think it was number 6 and 8. And so I've actually got some ideas that I can actually build and develop. But let's quickly see how either of these work with maybe a couple of the bass that I like. So maybe let's try both 6s here and see what happens. Okay, let's try with the other drums. Okay, let's try the A's together. Okay. So as you can see, you've kind of got some different ideas that you can try out and see whichever ones you like, or edit and develop. Of course, you can easily just go into any of these and move things around if you want, or delete some of the notes, or use totally different instruments, etc. Now, I also know that another thing you can do is, I believe you can actually, I'm not sure which one it is. Is it Groove or Drumify? You can actually build drum patterns based on for example, the some of the MIDI notes that you already have. So if I just open up Drumify like this, and I'll go to the input clip, say saw filter bass, and then I can opt to, let's say we use 8. So this goes to clip 9. Okay, so if I generate that, so it basically generated some drums based on this clip here. So let's see how these work together. If I just move this to the bottom here, and we'll just press play. Okay, you know, it's a basic idea, but it works. How about if we try and do that with number 6? So we'll be using this as the input to generate some drums. Okay, here we are. And let's say we use number 6, and then we can just say generate. The script will be saved over 7 of 8. No, I don't want that. So, okay, I see. So I might just need to move these lower. So I'm going to be using this one here. And if we go back here, generate. Okay, so in an instant, it's already got a new drum pattern. So let's just see how this sounds. So this is what it looks like. Interesting. Let's see how it sounds. It's missing a couple of notes, but I see what it was trying to do, because if I just added maybe a couple of drums here, so you know, you can do your own thing. Maybe if we put like a snare drum on each of these. Doosh, doosh. So you can see machine learning can actually help come up with ideas quite quickly, and ideas I may not have thought about before. Are these that good to make a track at the moment? I wouldn't say so, but it might be able to, you know, make you think outside the box a little bit, and you know, maybe in some instances might even help work more quickly. But to be completely honest, I haven't personally used Magenta to make a track. But I've had it for a few months now, but I don't know what was going on. It wasn't really working until very recently. So I thought I'd try it out again, and it worked. And yeah, so I'm just making this video to show you what it does. So, you know, as I'm sure you saw, there's several different functions here. One called continue, one called interpolate, generate, groove, drumify. We've used generate and drumify, and these are the 3 do different things. If we just go back on the website where the manual is, continue, as it says, uses the predictive power of recurrent neural networks, RNN, that's what they call it, to generate notes that are likely to follow your drum beat or melody. So you just simply give it an input, and it can extend it to 32 measures. which is pretty amazing. So say you've already made something, maybe you've played something in with your keyboard, or you've generated something, or you've clicked something in with your mouse, and you like it. This can help you extend whatever you've got, so you can come up with variations for drums or extensions in your melodies, etc., etc. And it can also, help you come up with, different variations, which are, important in music. Um, the other one, which we used, was generate, and you can read that here, but you've already seen what it does. And the other one is interpolate. Um, and this is saying, so you can take two drum beats or two melodies as inputs, and then generate up to 16 clips, which combine the qualities of the two clips. This is about merging different musical ideas or creating a morph between them, which is really interesting. So, yeah, I can imagine, like, if you took two melodies and you wanted to make something that's I guess a combination of both, but or in between, or that sort of thing. You can use this app to do that, which is pretty amazing. And the other one was, we didn't use this either, Groove. So this adjusts the timing and velocity of an input drum clip to produce the feel of a drummer's performance. It's similar to the humanized functions that you might get on plugins, or if you use in a DAW, sometimes you've kind of got a feature where you select all the notes and you can humanize them just by clicking a button or right clicking and selecting humanize. And they're saying what they did was record 15 hours of real drummers performing on MIDI drums, and these were then used to train the neural network to predict the unquantized beats as the output, which is okay. Similar to the method used in Google's automatic language translation. Okay. So yeah, if you've sort of clicked in drums, which a lot of people do, you can just use this to make these drums sound more quote unquote human, so having different velocities or different, slightly different timing. Maybe some drums are a little more delayed than others, etc., which I guess for the listener can also create some sort of groove. We call it groove or swing. So Drumify, we use that. You saw us use it earlier, and you can read more about it on the website, really, if you want to use this. But I highly recommend checking this out. If you've got Ableton Live and you've got Max for Live, so if you've got Ableton Suite or you've got a copy of Standard and you bought Max for Live, this is definitely something that's worth checking out if you want to do sort of, if you wanted to have some sort of machine learning helping you come up with ideas. So for the second installment of this, I'm going to show you another plugin that's based on machine learning. And this is Pilot Plugins, made by Mixed in Key. Now, if you're a DJ or even a producer, you may have already heard about Mixed in Keys. It's been around for quite some time, some years. And Mixed in Key, as a company, they initially developed a plugin called Mixed in Key, which can help quickly analyze tracks for the key of the track. Rather than sitting there with a piano trying to work out what key a track is, this application, it's not this one that you're looking at now, but it's another application called Mixed in Key. It can help you analyze, for example, your whole library. You've got thousands of tracks. It does that relatively quickly, and it's been it's been used by every DJ, from some of the most famous DJs to your bedroom DJ. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool that software is a mainstay. And so they also develop plugins for production. One of them is this one called Pilot Plugins. This one is relatively new. And they describe it as an inspiration engine for music producers. You can see the user interface here. It's pretty cool with the pictures and everything. And it comes When you buy it, you get three different three versions of the app, and one of them is called Pilot Melody, which helps you come up with melodies, and the other one is called Pilot Arpeggio or Pilot Arp, I believe, and Pilot Bass. So you can see them here now: Pilot Melody, Pilot Bass, and Pilot Arpeggio. So it comes with these three versions, and these basically, as the name say, help you come up with melody, bass, and arpeggio, respectively. So we're just gonna have a quick look at this. The difference between this plugin and Magenta is that this comes with its own sounds as well. Technically, it generates musical paths, and it also plays the sounds without needing an additional instrument to play the MIDI parts, which is pretty cool. Yeah, so let's load in Pilot plugins. I'm just going to search in my plugin folder. As you can see here, all three are here. So I'm just going to duplicate the MIDI channels here so that I can have three of them, and we'll load in Pilot Arpeggio. So this is Pilot Arpeggio. I'm not really going to go too much into depth with the controls of this, because maybe I can save that for another video, just so this video doesn't end up being too long. But once I've loaded that in, I can simply press play in my DAW, and immediately you can hear some sounds coming out of your DAW, which is great. So it's a quick way of coming up with ideas, but let's go a little bit deeper into generating some sequences or some arpeggios with this particular synth. Actually, let's do this. Let's select the key. So right now we're in A minor. So maybe we can go for like minor pentatonic. And yeah, so I've selected minor pentatonic, and I'm just going to quickly. So over here, you can also choose what style of arpeggio you want. If you click here, you've kind of got these up, down, texture, staircase. So let's try some of these out. Notice I changed the instrument when I was clicking around, by the way. So to change the instrument, you simply click over there and you can select. So there's loads of different types of sounds, as you can see. But I won't go too much into that for this tutorial. So maybe let's try these different. The staircase. And it gives you some instructions. Increase the cycle and density knobs for some truly massive arpeggios. And it also tells you, this is great on synths with some automation. This is the kaleidoscope, and it tells you a bit of information here. Okay, let's try tweaking the cycle. Okay. I kind of like this. Okay. So you can see we've already got a little idea for an arpeggio that quickly. And now I'd like to move on to the other versions of this synth, the Pilot plugins. It comes, as I mentioned earlier, it comes with three versions: arpeggio, bass, and melody. So I'm just going to close this for now. While it's going to stay there, still loaded up. I'm going to go to Pilot Bass. As you can see, This is Pilot Bass. It's loaded up, fully loaded. I'm just going to press play. That's all I'm going to do. I haven't done anything else other than play with Pilot Arpeggio. And so I've simply just loaded up Pilot Bass. Press play. See, you've already got the idea for a track that quickly. This is pretty amazing, isn't it? I mean, I wouldn't necessarily make this style of track personally, but it just goes to show you how these plugins that can generate MIDI notes or musical parts quite quickly can be very helpful in taking out some of those elements where you open up a DAW and you just don't really know where to go for your session. So let's see. Let's play a little bit with this bass. Maybe we'll get something that we like a little bit more. So these here are the different styles of bass. So you've got foundation, offbeat. If you just click on this, it explains a little bit more about what the style of bass does. So if you can see, every time I'm clicking, it's changing here. Let's listen to this. Okay. Dubby. It's pretty dubby. Not too keen on that one. Okay, that's pretty cool. Walking bass, disco style. Okay, that's pretty nice. Gravity. Okay, I like that. That's like, yeah, it's different. And you notice when I clicked on tension, it actually changed the instrument entirely there, which is why you heard a different sound to the others. I actually didn't select a different synthesizer. So let's look at Flagship. Doesn't really work. I'm gonna go with this tension just because I kind of liked it. It was different. Very funky. So maybe let's play a little bit with some of these controls here on the left. And notice there's an arrow here. So this can actually help you go backwards to where you were before. So let's try and go idea. So you can see here idea 23, 21. Let's keep going. Okay. Okay, so let's go back to, the initial thing that I generated when I clicked on tension. And over here you can see this little icon here. It's like the pencil icon. And if you click on this, you can actually edit the notes or add others or whatever. So you can move these things around. Okay. So another thing that I didn't talk about before was you can actually export the MIDI. So if you just click on this, you just drag, and you've basically exported the MIDI. But you can also export the audio as well. So if you just do this, it just exported the bass line as, as you can see here, as audio below here. So that's pretty cool, and it's that quick. It's that quick. So we've got an arpeggio, we've got a bass. Now let's look at the last one, which is Pilot Melody. So as you can see, it's loaded up Pilot Melody now. So I haven't done anything. I have not changed any settings. I've not changed the sound. I've not even listened to it. And I'm just going to press play and see what we hear. What does this plugin give us? So that's kind of the melody that it's got at the moment. Like, I'm not too fond of it, but that's the great thing about this plugin. It just gives you, an initial idea, and then you can sort of play around with the settings and come up with something that you want. When I loaded it up, it already knew that the arpeggio plugin and the bass plugin already had minor pentatonic selected. So if I change that, I think it will probably change all of the other plugins to be in that key. So let's play around a little bit more with the Pilot Melody just to see what we can come up with. Maybe I'm not too keen on the sound, so I'm just gonna, I don't know what this sounds like. Okay, we can stick with that. It sounded quite, commercial EDM, whatever they call it, or, pop EDM. So let's maybe go. If we click over here, you've got the styles. Just like with the other plugins, you've kind of got this section that's got styles. So right now it's on Loop Master 5000. So let's try the others while we play. Okay. Maybe we can use this. It seems to like work a little bit, but the track is, it's a bit busy at the moment, to be completely honest. So I want to see if we can maybe simplify it. Is that possible? Okay. Okay. No, that just takes it up the octaves. Let's try these gaps. Okay. Let's see, offset. Okay, and you can mess around with the note length here, but we're not going to do that. But I just want to edit the last note because I'm not really feeling it. I kind of hear it going up. Dee, 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 dee. Do, 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 do. It's a pity you can't really audition the notes here unless you move it up. Do, do, da 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 da. Oh, I meant to be going down. Da da. Yeah, I mean, how long did that take? It didn't take very long, and it's a very simple melody so far. You know, you can go deeper into it. You can export the MIDI and try and make something, you know, a lot more engaging, etc. Right now, it's simple, but it was so quick to come up with these ideas. So, you know, you can also just be here and press regenerate to come up with, you know, more and more new ideas or whatever. And you can always go back. You know, if you don't like what you came up with. You know, you can mess around with more of these settings, go to, you know, a lot more of these different sort of styles. I mean, it's a great little plugin for how quickly it took me to come up with this. It's great. And you can also combine them. Like, why just, you know, use one set of plugins? These are just things that can help you create music more quickly and more easily. Or if you're stuck on ideas, load these up and you're just using technology to help you make music. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I know there's some people that might say, oh, but you're cheating, you're doing this, you're doing that, but not really, because you saw this actually had, you know, quite a bit of input for me. There are things that I might like to hear, that my ears like to hear, certain rhythms, etc. And by going through some of these you know, playing with some of these parameters, etc., what I'm going to come out with in the end is something that I like, something that's to my taste, something that's also based on my likings, that are also based on all of my experiences and culture and knowledge and all that sort of stuff. And you know, you don't also have to only stick to one of these or one set of these plugins. For example, I could take this bass that I exported from Pilot plugins, and I can come back to Magenta Studio, and maybe I can say, you know what, continue the bass that I got from Pilot bass. So if I just went here, input clips, Pilot bass, and I can say, okay, give me 4 variations, give me 2 bars, let's just say that, and generate 4 clips. And I can just click on generate, and it's generated some more. You know, they're slightly different. You can see over here, if you look, it's generated more and more of these, and I can then go and listen to these. Maybe I don't like one, or I like a little bit of from one and the other, and I can be selecting and copying, or maybe I just want to loop something for, you know, that's a sort of rolling acid house or tech house track, or African house or techno track. And that's basically, so this technology is actually helping me to make music and come up with really interesting ideas that I may not have been able to click in with a mouse or play on my keyboard. You know, that's some of the power and some of the wonder of electronic dance music. You've kind of got this technology that helps you create this music, and that helps you sort of, you know, even combine different sounds, rhythms, and elements to make something that's new and amazing, and that can facilitate people to come together and dance. And that's, you know, I love electronic music, and I've been in love with electronic music since I was a kid. You know, if you look at the history of electronic music, you really see that in some instances, some new instrument or something would come out, the synthesizer or something. People might be like, oh, that's not a real instrument. Or people might say, oh, these sequencers, these drum machines, that's not real musicianship, etc. But at the end of the day, you're creating music and people like it and people want to come together and dance to this music. And that's what matters. That's what matters. So, if you're listening to a lot of these people that are saying, oh, using uh, plugins like this or devices is not real musicianship or is cheating or whatever, don't listen to them. You just make your music and get your music out there so that other people can hear it, so that other people can dance to it. No one on a dance floor is going to care whether it was made on a computer, whether it was made using analog synthesizers, whether it was a bunch of musicians in some studio recording uh, uh, live instruments or guitars, etc. Of course, people have different likings of the styles and the types of music and sounds that they like, but ultimately, there's going to be people that like your music. So get creating, my people. Get creating. If you look at these devices, some of these are free. Some of them you need to buy. You also don't need to have these devices to make great music. If you've got a synthesizer, a VST synthesizer, or in your DAW, you can look for, things like arpeggiators, for example. If we go to MIDI effects, these are arpeggiators, and you can just load that up. And this can also help you generate different MIDI notes, different rhythms. If you play around with the parameters and everything, you can really come up with some interesting sounds and rhythms. And then you can also record or take some of that MIDI and select different parts. So this isn't like something that's necessarily extremely new to electronic music, but as devices, it'll be really interesting where this type of machine learning goes when it comes to helping creators, music makers, music producers, music composers, DJs, etc. make and perform music, I guess. So yeah, I want to hear what you think about AI and music production and music composition. I want to hear whether you've tried any of these software applications. Which ones are you using? Which ones are your favorite? What do you like about them, or what don't you like about them? What do you wish they could do? How could they be improved, etc. So use the comment section. Let's discuss. Let's exchange ideas. Recommend things to other people. And yeah, music makers. So this has been African Electronic. Thanks so much for tuning in. Peace.